What's up guys, it's Wednesday and that means it's time for a polyphasic sleep update. So I am currently in the adaptation phase. The Discord channel designates 4 stages of adaptation, and the third is the one that's commonly referred to as adaptation, which is the most difficult phase, where you tend to oversleep, you tend to fall asleep on accident, and that's where most people fail. So I'm going to go over some of the things that I've experienced so far and how I've overcome them, and we'll go from there. So my last oversleep was on day 18. I overslept by 2 hours. If you watched last week's video, you saw that. You saw me explain that a little bit. I have not overslept since then, and today is day 30. So it's been 12 days since I had an oversleep. That's not to say I haven't made some mistakes, and we'll get into that later. But I am currently in adaptation. I have had a couple close calls where I almost overslept. So we'll talk about that later in the video. By the way guys, I do post videos 5 to 7 days a week on topics such as time management and productivity and several other things. If you're interested in that sort of thing, definitely consider subscribing so you can get more content like this. So as far as my update, I've had some difficulties. I've had tiredness, but it hasn't been like prolonged throughout the day. Usually it's a short bout of tiredness, but very intense. So the first one of those I had was several days ago. It was in the morning, and it was at about 4 o'clock in the morning. So I had about an hour and a half before my next nap, and it had been 4 hours since I woke up. And it just hit me like a ton of bricks. I was so tired. I was tired to the point where I felt like I could actually fall asleep while walking, like mid-stride. There was a chance that I was just gonna fall asleep. I was trying everything I could think of to try to stay awake. I got on the Discord channel and started chatting with people to try to figure out what to do. It was pretty intense. That being said, I got through it. The other thing I'm experiencing right now, which is part of the adaptation process, is repartitioning happens, which is basically where your REM sleep moves from being in this monophasic pattern at night, and it moves REM sleep to your naps. So this is specific to people who are doing polyphasic sleep in a schedule that has like 20-minute naps, because your body doesn't naturally go into REM sleep in 20 minutes. So you have to reach sleep deprivation, and then repartitioning occurs. Well, during that repartitioning, things start getting shoved around, and you're much more likely to wake up during a slow wave sleep cycle. And those are pretty intense. So that's when people talk about zombie mode. It's really intense, and waking up from slow wave sleep is miserable and difficult, and you're likely to fail. That's where multiple alarms comes in. Before day 18, where I had that oversleep, I was using a single alarm, which was kind of naive of me. I had a misunderstanding of what that zombie mode could do to you. So I was thinking, well, willpower and discipline will get me through this. You know, I'm driven and I'm not gonna fail. Well, willpower and discipline is great, but when you're waking up in slow wave sleep, you are not even really conscious. So let me give you a couple examples from this previous week where I woke up from slow wave sleep. So the first one, I woke up and turned off my alarm and got back in bed, and I kind of remembered it, but just barely, only because my next alarm went off 3 minutes later, and that one woke me up. So it was so recent that I could kind of remember a cloudy picture of what I had done. Another one that happened actually this morning, I woke up hearing my alarm, but it sounded distant. So normally it's on the dresser, which is like 3 paces from the end of my bed, from the foot of the bed. So it's pretty loud when it goes off. Well, this morning I heard the alarm, but it was my second alarm. So that's one thing, is I have different tones for the first and second alarm, so that I don't just get used to ignoring one tone and then that just blows up my entire alarm regimen. So I'm hearing the second alarm, but it sounds distant. I get up and I find that my phone is on the arm of the couch in the living room, and I have no recollection of putting it there. So essentially I woke up to my first alarm, or I got out of bed for my first alarm, turned it off, made it into the living room, had put my phone on the couch, and then decided to go back to bed. So when my second alarm went off, it was on the couch in the living room. So that's a little alarming, but luckily I heard it and woke up. The slow wave sleep wakes are very difficult. Willpower and discipline is not enough. You need to have multiple alarms. To give you an idea, the Discord channel has a recommendation of 9 alarms, times from 0 minutes to 20 minutes, like 0, 1, 2, 3, 5 minutes after you're supposed to wake up, you've got alarms going off, for a total of 9 alarms on multiple devices. They also recommend barcode alarms, which is where you have to scan a barcode to get the alarm to stop, and having barcodes outside so that you have to actually go outside the house, or having a barcode in the shower so you have to get in the shower. The thinking being that you'll start the shower and that'll be part of your routine. I'm not going that extreme. Right now what I have is 5 alarms. I have the alarm on my main phone that I have on the dresser that I mentioned, and those are set to 0 minutes, so my target wake up time of 12:30, and then 3 minutes after that and 6 minutes after that, and each of those have a different tone so that I don't get used to, like, that third tone. I've never even heard it while sleeping. And then I have a second phone in the living room with 2 different tones. They go off at 5 and 6 minutes after I'm supposed to wake up. So if for some reason I reset the 0 minute alarm and the 3 minute alarm from the dresser phone, at 5 minutes there's a phone that's going to go off in the living room. So far that has worked. I've never gotten back in bed after even the 3 minute alarm. So the most I've done is I've missed my first alarm and woken up from the second alarm. So those have helped me to be successful. That being said, when I woke up this morning, still groggy and slow wave sleep at the 3 minute alarm, it was tough. Like, I was groggy and just kind of dragging for like 15 or 20 minutes. So that's definitely something to kind of prepare yourself for mentally. The last thing I wanted to talk about was, I've been getting questions from people on YouTube or through email, asking about various schedules. Now, I'm not a schedule expert, but there's this common theme that I see with new polyphasic sleepers that are developing their own schedule, is that they allow way too much flexibility in their schedule. So your body is trying to respond to a change in your sleep schedule. It's kind of like your brain is trying to repartition your REM sleep, but it's trying to hit a moving target because your nap varies by 20 or 30 minutes. So this is what I was doing in my first week. So I'm a great example of this. If you've watched the earlier videos, my first week, my lunchtime nap was kind of all over the place, and some other naps moved around kind of randomly just for convenience. And then I got on the Discord channel and I cut that out, and now I follow my schedule to a T every single day. To give you an example of that, one thing that some sources recommend is, if you miss a nap, well, reschedule your nap to somewhere that it's not going to be within 4 hours of another nap, so you can move your naps around. Well, I don't feel like that's a good idea, because then what you're doing is you're telling your body, this nap now goes over here. So if you miss your noon nap and then you take a nap at 1:30, you're telling your body, okay, now we're napping at 1:30, so that lunchtime REM cycle can't hit the target. You're delaying your adaptation. To give you an example, this weekend I had some work that I had to do, and then I was coming back home to take my nap, and somehow in my mind I thought I was supposed to nap at 12:20 when actually my nap ends at 12:20. So I'm getting ready for my nap. I get in bed about 5 minutes early. Typically I'll get in bed and just kind of lay there or read a book or something. So I'm laying there and it's 12:14, and I realized my nap was supposed to start at noon. So a lot of people that are trying out polyphasic sleep will say, oh, well, I'll just reset my alarm to 12:40 and take my nap at 12:20. Well, I don't do that. So at that moment, I was pretty pissed at myself for screwing that up, because it was just an idiotic mistake. But I just said, okay, I'm going to try to nap. I've got 6 minutes. So I laid there, half awake, half asleep for 6 minutes, and then I got up, and I basically just missed that nap. I've missed other naps too, and if I miss a nap, I just miss a nap, and it's going to be tough for the next day, but I don't want to confuse my body during adaptation. I don't want to prolong adaptation by moving my naps around or moving my core back. That's another thing. There was a day where I had to start my core an hour late. Well, I still woke up at 12:30 because that's what time I wake up, and I want my body to know that Sometimes we're going to miss sleep within these windows, but sleep never happens outside of these windows, so that I have an efficient adaptation. So hopefully that works out for me. This is my first time through this, so I'm experimenting with what I think is right, but I have had reinforcement from other people, like on the Discord channel, that if you move a nap, like for instance my 12:20 example, if I had napped from 12:20 to 12:40, they consider that an oversleep. And oversleeps measurably set you back in adaptation. So I did not want to do that. I think that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about today. So we talked about setting alarms. We talked about flexing your schedule and how you should stick to a strict schedule. And we talked about repartitioning and waking up from slow wave sleep and how painful that can be. I hope this was helpful for you guys. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you're new here and you like what I'm doing, hit the subscribe button. And if you have any questions or comments, put them in the comments down below so we can talk about it. Have a great day.